Boing. You can see it? Week 16?
Yeah.
Good. So when we look at the, what do we talk about? Oh, the test in terms of, we do with this class in terms of the test. Look at this, test 3. Test review. By now, hopefully, you have printed out or downloaded or worked with, ideally worked with this review here. That's 5 pages that tells you everything that's on the final test in terms of the written part. The final test has 2 portions to it. It has a written portion and it has a lab type portion. What we did with the labeling exercises, those terms, they are on this testable term list, anatomy term list, which, oh, is here, duh. Right there. So if all right, if you haven't printed that yet out, or you haven't been in lab and gotten it there, make sure you print that out, because all the terms you are responsible for in this second test, the anatomy terms, are listed on this list. So if you have, if you have those 2 lists together, then you're good to go. You can also review videos or even get the pictures of the models if you want, like last test. However, the goodie on this test is, and it's a 65-point test, so it's a little longer, but the goodie is even the anatomy section is multiple choice, so you don't have to write in anything. And so that's to the test part. And then, you know,
when is it
now
posted?
Huh?
When is the test going to be posted?
You mean when can you take it?
Yeah.
You're going to take it till May 24th. So we're going to have, that's next week. It's the test week is next week, I think.
Oh, okay.
So next week you're going to take the test. This is one where it's, timed. You don't have 2 choices. You can only do it 1 time. And it's from Monday or probably Sunday night till then Friday. You cannot take material after the 24th. Everything has to be in. That's very important. We can't have leeway dates there. I mean, I can take over the weekend, I can take some last minute, pictures that you didn't finish labeling things, but like the questionnaires after the lessons, those are all closed at 24th midnight. That's just a Canvas thing. There's nothing I can do about that. So yeah, make sure you start gearing up for finishing up now with this. So these you can, if you have to leave something open, you finish leaving these open and text me those over the weekend. I have to get the grades in on Sunday night of the 24th week, not next week, the 24th week. Does that make sense?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, good. Yeah. Is that raising some questions? No? Okay, then. If not, otherwise you know how it goes. You speak into me. You don't wait. You just say something. How is the pathology project coming along for you guys? Been pretty okay?
It's going good.
Finished it up?
I do have a question about that.
Huh?
I do have a question about pathology. Mm-hmm. So are both of, so there's only 2 people in my group. Are we both supposed to make a post? Or are we supposed to do one together?
In a discussion or the video?
The discussion.
No, but discussion, you individually load up the whole thing.
Oh, okay, for sure.
I mean, unless you only did the one, you're alone, or you only did one section of the video yourself, then you load up your stuff. But if it's both, if it's the project the way originally I intended it to, with multiple people in the group, in the discussion, you each showcase your project as a group. So you showcase your project, and then you interact with other students about your project. And maybe you can say your section in the project, then because part of what we want to do with this exercise is learn from people's research, which I learn a lot actually listening to all you guys all the time, and the other part is also being somewhat, creative feedbacky, and then that's individual to the presenter kind of. Or how did you do, with the whole thing? Did I convey my stuff all right, or do you have any tips? And it's that kind of question, because we want to learn from that. But generally speaking, you guys are doing a really good job. It's really funny, I think the stuff like this is getting better as I go along teaching in the student body, and a lot of the teachers are complaining like the literacy level is decreasing since the pandemic, and I'm like, well, I don't know, presentations are really good. So you guys are doing great work. Does that make sense? Why I want everybody to put it up, Jessica?
Yeah, that makes sense.
All right, cool. And tonight we are in lab. It's our last lab. If you guys, I put it in the text too, but just to remind
at 6, everybody. Right?
6 o'clock, yes. And we finish up with the kidneys, and we also bring in. I'm gonna have to make sure I can secure, but I should be able to secure more eyeballs, more hearts, and more brains, so we can do more of that if we want. And somebody who didn't come last time can also um, um, do that, but also as a second go around potentially, because it might be interesting. Who knows? For some of you who has done already the first time, especially like the brain. It's like, well, actually the heart too, because it's kind of a complicated structure to look at. So it's interesting to do it. Anyway, we're doing that at 6, between 6 and 8 tonight. And then this week we're gonna have the repro system and the embryology. This is just standard stuff in terms of the general system and how that works, and the anatomy and the physiology a little bit. We're not going too crazy into more than sort of a one semester discussion on that. But what I do want to talk about here, or not really talk about, what I did do in this section is I added on the chapter on the embryology, and I think that make sure you take a good time on both chapters, but particularly that chapter, especially if you haven't had kids, or you're interested in having kids, or want to talk to your significant other about kids, or sometimes the significant others are not that involved, and so that's a good place, especially if you have the booklet, I think, to say like, hey, look, this is what we're doing here, and this is actually really what's going on. And I think and so I wanted to make sure we have a chapter on that, that really explains that process a little bit more in detail. And especially with the booklets, you have a lot of visuals that support, that makes it less just academic of a topic, and everybody sort of has access to understanding that material, which is and then we have questions around those two. But I wanted to, I didn't put it up to share, but I wanted to talk about, or have you guys' input. I'm making this new biology class in Merced, and I'm working on making it very hands-on, and we also start working with an AI tutoring tool from the Khan Academy called Khan Migo. Do you guys know about that?
I've actually heard about it, but I don't know much details about it.
Man, this stuff is great. So I went on this Khan Academy thing because I want to incorporate the AI into my school, into my course, and the Khan and Migo is like your personalized tutor. And so you can go in and you can start asking the questions. Like, I couldn't understand in genetics. I'm doing genetics because I never studied genetics before, a little bit, but not much. And now I'm like, oh great, let me study the genetics first to understand the tools, of the learning trade these days. And that Khan Amigo, and it was like $44 a year. It was like not even an expense, and I don't even know if you need to pay for it for that feature. But it's something to check out, because I asked the question like, how do you make how do you make sure you have a homozygous P plan? Because I wasn't quite sure yet. And it guided me through with Socratic methodology. It was asking me and giving me problems to solve to the answer. It doesn't just give you the answer like a ChatGPT, but it talks you through getting the answer. It's like your tutoring system helper companion that helps you understand things that you're not quite understanding as a person, as a learner. And he cited research. I have a TED talk on it, which I should probably post for you guys to watch because it's really interesting. And he cited research on saying, like, look, if you have a mediocre level student or a good student too, whatever level student you have, they're going to stay at the level of where they're at if you teach them a 30-to-1 ratio. But if you hold their hands tutoring wise and you sort of pick them up, that's my saying, but pick them up where they're at in their learning experience, and you take them from there and get them to the next step, whatever that is, what the class needs to understand or wants you to understand, then you raise the level of a student quality. You make a good or better student out of a mediocre that's not even a good terminology, but a student that doesn't maybe understand, have a full buy-in or learning the conventional ways of learning, and so that's, I think, pretty remarkable. And so I tested it with the question about the homozygous creation of the P plan, and it guided me through to the answers. And so I think if next time you have sort of an anatomy or biology, or it's just a college question. I don't know how detailed they go into all kind of stuff on the internet, or if it's sort of what the algorithm really can, how much it can handle. But I know it can handle college level stuff, and so I think it's a great resource to start playing with and tapping into.
Hey, Doc. I actually say that I actually went to the website, the Khan Academy website. Just ask a few questions when I was doing a lot of the work for this semester. Mm-hmm. And it was really helpful. It had a lot of really useful videos. So I can imagine how the AI tool would be beneficial too.
Yeah, no, and the way that they explain it in the Khan, I'm going to copy their fashion, their way. I mean, my teaching style is now going to be everything that is written on the board, I need to write on the board. No more PowerPoints. I'm gonna completely change that, because then you as a student already have the first time writing it down in a notebook or so, and we bring that sort of kinesthetic sense back in, because honestly, even me, and it's proven in the fact that I find mistakes in my own textbook still means I'm reading over a lot of words when I'm just reading versus doing something with it. And so I'm going to start teaching more and more with the visuals, and then also learning how to draw a little bit. And the Khan Academy kind of does that, because they do a lot of explaining, like drawing and writing it. Or also I found on YouTube, some videos because they have different language models. And so it was an Indian English language model. And I didn't find it on the regular Khan Academy, but it asks you what language type you want to study in or something. And so I think there might be different ways of doing it too. And so I found one that really explained something really well, that then I followed on for a playlist on that in YouTube. So it's really versatile at this point. So I think it's worthwhile really checking it out for everyone. Yeah. Go look at that Tutor and tell me how it goes. That tutoring tool. Anybody else have experience? No? Yes? Well, if not, at least if you have a discussion with your teachers that are still stuck on, like, AI cheating kind of questions, you're going to talk to them about that, because we're going to figure out how to use it to enhance what we're doing, and not just like, oh, look, we can use it just to cheat. Because that's, to me, when I came to America, one of the things that I realized is, like, God, everything is writing a report, a lab report, or this report. I was terrified, because English was not my first language. And so I was like, thank God there was multiple choice tests. At least I was good at taking those. So at least I got through because of that. But I realize now, with AI making the report, or they are afraid of that, if you have a class on baking bread, why is your class project writing a report about baking bread, for example? Why is it not making the bread physically? And so we got to ask much more questions of what we really want out of a course, out of a class. What can the student take home that's useful, and not just like, let's get through this 1,400-page book. I got this biology book, 1,400 pages. It blew my mind. Every time I started reading, I fell asleep. And now I can talk to a in the AI thing, the cool thing is you can have a historical figure. So yesterday I had a conversation with Einstein on that thing. I mean, typing, but still, it's really, really funny. And so that's much more interactive. And I don't fall asleep doing that in comparison. And so I think it's going to be up to you guys to. I think it's up to you guys to guide some of the teachers into this new era as well. So, be creative and curious as much as you can if it catches you. All right. Well, if we don't have any other thoughts on that, if we do, just speak into me. But if we don't, I don't have to blabber here long. But we're going to finish up the pathology project. And I'm sorry I haven't graded this morning. I have a meeting later at Merit with the Vice President of Instruction, so I want to be prepared. But finish up. Everybody posts in the pathology project. If you have not participated in the pathology project, you can still, and some people haven't. Some, life is busy. Some things happen. You can still go in and take part of the discussions, and I will give you credit on the discussion forum. So make sure of that. I should maybe make an announcement. I haven't really done that before. But I think that's because it's still very valuable to learn from the people who have done a lot of research, and is a lot of personal energy that goes in, personal interest into these projects, and you really can feel that listening to them. So please don't just do two. If you have extra time, just do a whole bunch that interests you. It's very cool stuff that you guys are creating. And then we got a food journaling discussion. That's just finishing up that health kit. But on that note, in terms of looking back a little bit on all the health kits that you guys have been doing, well, first of all, have they been helpful? That's a question for you guys.
I think so.
They've definitely been helpful. Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it made the material more relevant. Would you say that? I mean, so I don't want to mean to put words in your mouth, but something, that was one of my aims.
It definitely made it more relevant, and it also made it interactive. I don't know. Instead of just, like you said, instead of just reading, you were actually putting it into your life and using it. So I thought that was cool.
Okay, good. No, thank you. That's good. So that came across, at least hopefully in most situations. And if you have improvements on things, please reach out to me, text me. I'm open for all kind of input, because this whole class has been created because of input from the students, of always asking, how can I make it better? And so I really always welcome that. And the other thing with these health kit things is, you guys have now an arsenal of gone through a variety of life enhancing kind of life hack type of things that are relevant for people's, well-being and our well-being. And so, so last semester, we were at some point having the discussion, almost like, you got a half of a little life coach program now under your belt. And so, make sure you share with friends and family that are interested in these things. This is, delicate stuff. You don't put it on, you don't proselytize about any of that. But if people are interested in learning more, and you are interested in it as well, then share more stuff. There is a lack of information. There's a lack of that kind of information, particularly in the field where we have so much is communicated via TV. That's just so expensive and not reachable for most of those kind of things. It's like that's why you get the drugs on TV, and it doesn't mean they're the best things. It just means those institutions can pay for the advertisement. Anyway, that's what I wanted to say about this portion. Any other comments on your side about the health kits? Because last thing we got here is what? Oh, second to last.
I think the variety of it was really useful. Like for instance, one that just stood out to me that I never really thought of was just like even the posture one. It was simple, but it was really very beneficial.
Good. Yeah, it's interesting because I was always like, posture. Oh, don't give me that kind of shit. When I grew up, I'm still like, oh no, I don't want to make it so it's like boring, like whatever. But putting it in the terminology, and or at least that's what I hope and think, in the terminology and in the context of gravity, makes it more touchable. And then that was sort of the hidden for me to start incorporating into my daily life when it got simple like that. So I'm glad. Yeah, no, yeah, go ahead.
I said I like sharing the projects. So I live with roommates, and we all kind of did most of the health kit projects and stuff together, and it was really fun. Like the seeing one when doing the vision tests.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
It's still up on our wall.
Oh, that's funny. That's funny. No, and that's good stuff, and that's how we can disseminate, this information. Because one of the things as a clinician that I see a lot is we rely on the medical system to guide us in health, but that's not what the system is here for. The system is here to support us in disease and do the best it can that, and we cannot rely fully. We can rely on information from the doctor side, and we of course have to still judge of how that information is, because they're also trained in a specific format of how to do medicine, and a lot of it is pathology fighting. It's not health increasing, it's not functioning increasing format of medicine. So the more we can share those things, I think as peers to peers is very, very helpful, and it's very appropriate. It's very appropriate. I'm always afraid, how much do I share and how much is TMI? Not necessarily for an interest level, because I'm a nerd, I can stand for that, but also from like, there's a liability thing with that, but really, there's a self-responsibility we all have, and we have to increase that. And the information, I really tried over the years to put it in a format that hopefully is safe and useful, and not like, crazy making for people and dangerous. So yeah, don't give your completely overweight grandfather the squatting exercise. Make sure that. All right. Anyway, any more comments? But those are great. I'm going to share those with my superiors at school. Well, then the caring survey has, I think there's one question that I didn't make that was from the external that was asked, and I need to go there. So if you were doing the religious question, I think there's a couple different Christianities mentioned, but not Judaism or so. I have to go in and share that. So I'm so sorry. I hope that doesn't offend anybody too much, and if so, please reach out. And then we'll just finish up with some final thoughts, Padlets, and then I think under the congrats at this point, which you did a lot of good stuff. Look at all that. I would love if you could get me a review at Rate My Professor if you had enjoyed the class. If not, just don't give me a review. So that's how they stay high. But if you enjoy the class, I would appreciate that, because then other students can find the class as well afterwards again, or next semester. Especially, because a lot of these classes are still not done visually. And so a lot of students who are more visual learners are appreciating this kind of format.
That's actually how I found you, was Rate My Professor.
Oh, good. Then that works.
Yep, I was going to say that's how I find you too, and I'm actually glad. That's how I find the vast majority of my classes, and I find that it's fairly accurate in their assessments. So yeah, I think it's a great tool.
It's definitely accurate.
Yeah, no, it's good. I found that too, where I look for my own classes, and it's good to have a peer-to-peer kind of communication tool like that, where you can talk freely, because it's important to have as good of a match as you can get between your teacher and yourself, like in learning and teaching style, and match up as well as possible, because you got a whole variety pack, and if you spend a semester on something, that's a long time, and we don't want to get turned off by just some blah, 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 blah thing that's 30 years old and is not updated these days. You got so much out there that we can utilize now, that Well, I always ask the question, you know, is it about learning or going to college? You know, it should be about learning. And then if we approach it from that angle, there's a lot that we can really do these days. All right. So with Matt, I am ready to close it out, I think. We did the Conamigo. We talked about the health kits. Good. Any final questions on your end for today? You can always reach out.
No.
No? Good. Well, then I wish you a wonderful week. And next week, we do not have a Zoom. Unless you guys want to, we can make one if you have questions. But just text me and involve me that way. But I want to make sure you guys have access to me all the time, especially this finishing up time. If the grade looks weird, now is the time to start reaching out. I took the lates out, so make sure they should be out now. If you don't see that, I think it should have adjusted that everywhere. And if you have questions with assignments and things, if you haven't gotten all the points, now is the time to go in and look at that and shoot me a text and get me involved. Otherwise, I do what I can on my end. All right?
Thank you.
Thank you, Doc. We'll see you tonight.
Thank you. See you tonight. Bye.